Hello! We are going to be making a fully reversible outfit. The original idea for this was I was just going to make like a little corset vest, but I thought, wouldn't it be more fun if we did a whole outfit? So that is what we're going to be doing. Also, I know the audio is terrible. I've ordered a microphone. It's not going to be here for a few days. I'm going to take a look at what fabrics I have and we will get started from there. Let's go! So, as I was looking through my fabrics, I kind of came up with a little idea for what I think this character or aesthetic or outfit would kind of work really well as. I found some fabrics that were like really nice and shiny, and then some that were more plain, and I thought it would be really fun to have this one side of it be kind of like simple peasant, and then the other side be very, you know, royal or fancy or elegant, sort of like runaway princess kind of vibe. For the peasant side of it, I've got this green tablecloth. Skirts out of round tablecloths are one of the easiest pieces for me to make. So we have that. For the other side of the skirt, that's going to be the more royal fancy side, I have this tablecloth, which is quite a bit bigger. Then I may try to find some manner of making it long on one side, but then once it's in the reverse and it's on the peasant side, it's sort of hiked up underneath and acts more as a petticoat, and that way I don't have an extra foot of skirt hanging out from underneath the green skirt. Then the corset vest piece, this will be the peasant side. It's really nice, kind of just, I think it's a table runner, but I thought that was really nice and really pretty. But it doesn't necessarily scream fancy, so I think that will work for the peasant side. The other side of the corset is going to be this light green. I believe this is a pillowcase. It's definitely simple, but it's a little tiny bit slick or shiny. It's not like satin or silk or anything, but it's nice. So I thought that would work really well because it pairs really well with that skirt. I think for this shirt, I'm just gonna find one that I either already have or I'll thrift for one. Shirts are really hard to make and I don't want to make one. Those are all my fabrics. I do work in like an hour, so I don't know how much I'm gonna get done before then. So I will try to start with cutting out some of the pieces for the corset because that's gonna be the most meticulous piece, and I don't want to start on the big pieces, so I'm going to start on just the smaller, more meticulous ones. At least try to get the pattern pieces cut out before I have to leave for work.
Firstly, I used a paper pattern that I had drafted from an old Ren Fair corset that I had made a few years ago. I cut out, pinned, and sewed together all the pieces of the corset. Next, using this mesh trim I got from Michaels, I added a sparkly layer to the green side to help jazz it up and give it that royal feel. Ah yes, my big brain trying to find the best layout. This middle panel just barely fit. I then stitched the trim down along each edge. Despite it being a bit frumpy, I moved on to attaching both sides of the corset together. and then of course trimming off the excess. Here, I'm showing the trims I had selected compared to the corset so far. The red trim I got was far too bright, and the gold one, although cute, didn't seem like it would be wide enough to blend the two together and hide the transition from one side of the corset to the other. That brings us to this rope-like trim I had already had in my craft supplies. It's not only thick enough for the transition, but it's also super cute along both sides of the corset. Next, I used my machine to create boning channels. Which apparently had a vendetta against my machine. Behold, the needle graveyard. But alas, we persist. Here I am using zip ties as the boning because I'm cheap. I just decided on the necessary length for each channel, trimmed the ends, rounded them out a little, and voila! With some hand stitching that took a few hours, I attached the trim along the edge. After doing a test grommet with these adorable floral grommets, I went about cutting holes and adding these onto the corset. Using a scrap pillowcase I had in my fabric stash, I cut off the border to use as the skirt waistband. I found the center of each tablecloth and lined them up. Here you can see my massive cranium working to figure out where to cut out the waist. I then used the waist piece from before to create a channel that connected both the skirt layers, ensuring there was enough room for the elastic, which I threaded through and connected the ends of. The skirt was almost ready. The last thing needed was the channel to gather the longer skirt. For this, I used more of the tan pillowcase to create a channel. My camera died at this point, so after attaching it to the skirt about a foot from the waist and adding a drawstring, we are ready to film the reveal.
The dress is ready. I'm at the park. It's time to go film the reveal. we are done. I'm gonna do a quick wrap up, keep it very brief because I need to go to work soon and my memory card is almost out of space. So, what do I like about it? I think it's super stinking cute. Both sides are super fun. The little floral decals on all of the grommets are so precious. The ribbon worked out really well. This one right here came completely off the fabric and has just been sliding around, so that was super fun. I'm so glad that I went with this little trim. On this side you can still see where I neglected to correctly patch it. I glued it to keep it from fraying, but that was pretty much all I did. But yeah, the corset is super stinking cute. The skirt, you can't really see it from where you are now, but it's so fun, super fun to spin in. Lengthwise, I think it fits really well. Aside from that, we're gonna get into everything that I didn't really love about this. So, as much fun as the skirt is to twirl in, it doesn't fit me that great around the waist. It ended up being a bit loose. I think there's just so much weight to it that it pulls at that elastic enough. It doesn't sit up on my waist where I'd like it. It kind of sags down due to the weight and sits more so on my hips, which is a little too low for where I made this corset. In a lot of the footage, I just kept hiking it up and tucking it in and trying to get it to sit nice. But then especially trying to get from my car back to my apartment door. It wasn't very far, but I stepped on it probably 18 different times. Aside from that, the skirt was really fun. The drawstring, I basically just sewed a little channel so that I can basically hike it up, pull a drawstring through that, and tie that around my waist for when it's on the shorter side, and it worked really well. It wasn't super comfortable, all that extra fabric bunching up around my hips and my waist. When I first went to leave the house, my battery for my camera was dead, even though I had just charged it like 2 days ago, so I wasn't able to go film as quickly as I wanted to, had to plug it in and charge it, but I was already dressed up and had to sit in the peasant form of it, so all this glittery frill was on the inside. And let me tell you, that was not very comfortable. That, along with all that extra bunching and having not just this waistband but also a drawstring kind of pulling at the back there, it was rather uncomfortable to sit in. I don't know if I would ever wear this again. Certainly not for everyday use, possibly for like a Renaissance fair at some point. The corset definitely will wear again. Either way is super fun. It's really great for costumes, really great for Ren fairs. The skirt, I think if I do wear it again, I will need to make more adjustments to how it sits on the waist. And aside from that, I think I had a lot of fun with it. I will most likely only wear it floral side out. That said, with it being floor length, maybe not the best idea for a Ren fair. Might just depend, but great for photography opportunities. Aside from that, this was so much fun to make. I think this is going to be a great first crafting video of the channel. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for watching along. If you want to see more like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll be crafting more soon. Bye-bye!